lot of other places. This is just such a treat to be here. You guys are all great because we have this in common, and you've got quality people like Tammy and Ron, and especially guys like Tom. He's very self-spoken and self-deprecating, but believe me, if you knew how often cell phones are glued to the side of that man's head, and that he's got a farm to run, he's got a business to run, and he's running one of the most effective and powerful private organizations, political, well, maybe not, you wouldn't call it political, but it has political power, organizations in Canada, never mind Ontario. So I can tell you from personal experience, trying to get a hold of Tom isn't always easy, but he always answers the phone and gets back to you. And I'll tell you what, that's a mark of a real leader. Somebody who knows what they're doing and is willing to share that experience with others, and not only that, but is willing to go help them fight their fight. And he's done it more times than he will ever tell you. All right, with that having been said, we do have another speaker for you. As a matter of fact, this speaker is so fast on their feet, they don't even know it yet. But the speaker I'm going to bring up is another one. Oh, he doesn't?
I'm so fast.
You are faster than I am, which is not surprising. But there's another one cut from the same cloth. And I got the chance to know him a few years ago too. I think he was at a meeting with Jack McLaren while he was still head of the Ontario Landowners Association. And you want to talk about a good politician. I mean, he's not here, I can't embarrass him, but boy, Jack is tireless, he's effective, and he certainly has a passion for the little guy. And he's everything I'd like to see in a leader of a provincial party. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He's not here, but you get the point. There's a lot of people out there who would like to be, but could not be nearly as effective as Tom Black. Yes, him too. Jack McLaren. So what I'm going to do now is bring up another candidate for political office. No, I'm teasing him. He was a political politician, but Serge Brisson is a man who knows what it is to fight the fight, pay the price, and come out on the other side. So with that, Serge.
Thank you for the introduction.
You're welcome. Only happens once.
Got a beer in them, careful.
Only one.
Oh, yeah. That's all it takes.
I got into activism because of compulsory metrification. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And the groups around at that time that were fighting government regulations, forcing their way onto how people want to live their lives every day, weren't that many. And I've seen many come and go since then. And when I heard about the landowners coming forward, I was hoping that there would not be another flash in the pan. And as you can see, they've been around for, they're going on the 11th year. And I would say that the landowners is probably the most successful private organization defending people's rights that I've seen since I've been
Thank
involved.
God. Here, here.
Now, one of the things that I did, I got into metrification, I'm fighting that, and I got into the sign bylaw. But before getting to the sign bylaw, I also fought seat belts. That's another thing. But the one that I hit them the hardest with is in 1991. I had enough of collecting money for the government, and I told them that I was not going to collect sales tax for federal or provincial anymore. And I put on my invoices this little line that says, I do not collect GST or PST, and if you, the customer, feels this tax should be paid, you may send it in yourself. That killed it. I even had an individual go in to the tax office, and he brought in his invoice, and he says, I have an invoice from Monsieur Serge Brisson. It's a rat I just bought for $150. And it says on the bottom that he doesn't collect the taxes, and I'm here to pay them. They took the money, meaning that I'm correct, and that they have an obligation to take the money if somebody sends it in. Meaning that no business can be forced to collect money for the government. I threw slavery at them, and they took the bait. I was in court, I'll just give you this little bit, I was in court on paperwork in 1994, And it was the federal government who took me in for GST. Now, provincial never took me to court. I even had Bob Runciman asked the Minister of Finance the day after I burnt my vendor's permit in the office of provincial sales tax. He asked the Minister of Finance what were they going to do with me. And the Minister of Finance rose up in the legislature. That question is in the legislature, in the answer. I've got it in my book, which I'm going to give something later. The question was, what are you going to do with Serge Brisson, who just burned his vendor's permit and does collect taxes? And the answer from the Minister of Finance, who was NDP, said progressive legal action is being taken against this person. The province never did anything. And at the end of the day, when the GST issue was about to be finished, and I had plugged the loophole, they were finding me guilty for not doing the paperwork, but I had plugged the loophole, and they had just realized that by forcing me to do the paperwork was not going to force me to collect the taxes. The person from the province ran to the Crown, and we were alone in the courtroom. She ran to the Crown and said, your guy is going to give you the returns, because the GST returns say how much tax you collected, how much you remitted, and you sign it. And my returns are all filled out, 0 collected, 0 to remit, and I signed them. That's what I did with the province, and that's what I did with the federal government, and it plugged the loophole. And they never imagined that if someone did that, it would fulfill their obligation of doing the paperwork. Because the lady from the province said to the Crown, your guy is going to give you the returns with zeros on it. And the Crown said, well, that's stupid. And she said, no, because during the trial you argued, anyone and everyone has to do paperwork for the government. Whether it's a GST return, stats, income tax. If you get a document from the government, you have an obligation to fill it. What you didn't say is how it has to be filled. And he just plugged your loophole. Now, the only way we can force him to collect taxes for us is to charge him for it. But if you do that, he will throw slavery at us and we'll lose. Now, that's not in any transcript in court. But from this counter here to the other end, that's how far away they were, and I heard it as if I was standing right next to them. Because in a courtroom in Ottawa, the walls are made to, the sound is there.
The acoustics are really good.
The acoustics are very good. So from that moment on, I stopped filing all paperwork for the government, and it has been 20 odd years since I filed any GST returns or PST returns, and I have not filed an income tax return because if they take me to court for not filing income tax, they have to bring up the issue of GST also. So my book, everything that I've just told you is in my book that has taken a lot of time to come out, and I had to thank this man here to push it through, the publisher who was dragging their feet. But the book is coming out for the Libertarian Convention of Canada that will be held at the Marriott right next to CFRA, May 16th and 17th of this year. And that's where the book is being launched. And everything and anything that people want to know about my fight with taxes will be in that book. All the documents, Dave Brown had me 30 times in his articles, and the important ones are in that book. The answer from the legislature is in there. Everything I've just told you, there's about 40 pages of documents in there proving everything I've told you is true. That the government cannot force you to collect money for them. Now, of all the things that are happening, bilingualism, the MNR, the OSPCA, what are they relying on? What gives them the capacity to carry on these abusive processes against us?
I think they're probably.
No compliance.
Money. Money. The money that businesses collect for the government, because businesses collect about 80 to 90% of every dollar that goes to the government. So if tomorrow morning no business is obligated to collect money for the government, what happens? They have to address every single individual in this country that earns money to send them a check every month. And when everybody who believes they're getting things for free has to start sending in a check to the government, what's going to happen? They're going to start getting angry because it's not free anymore. And if they start getting angry, even if 10% of them say, you know what, next election I'm going to go and vote and I'm not voting for Liberals or I'm not voting for the government in charge because they're taking my money and squandering it. That's the whole reason why I did what I did, is that people are complacent. They feel that money that they're being paid out of their paycheck. Because when you get your paycheck, everything's taken out. It's been surgically taken out by an accountant and you don't feel it. But if you send in the check, those people will start feeling it. And that's why I did what I did. Well, I didn't want it to be free. I wanted to stop being a slave, but the secondary effect is that's what happens. And the government not take me to court, they put themselves in a corner for this to happen. So I hope that when the book comes out, they'll be able to see you all in line to buy one. And every book that I'm selling, I'm giving the invoice of the disclosure, disclaimer on the bottom of it.